Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Today we will study the topic cover cropping. So let's proceed. Cover crops are crop plants which are able to protect the soil surface from erosion. It may be wind erosion or water erosion or both through their ground covering foliage or root mats. These are planted to cover the soil rather than for the purpose of being harvested. Cover crops manage soil erosion, soil fertility, soil quality, water, weeds, pests, diseases, biodiversity, and wildlife in ecosystem, which is an ecological system managed and shaped by humans. Cover cropping is a sustainable agricultural practice where specific crops are grown primarily to improve soil health, ecosystem, suppress weeds, and enhance overall farm productivity rather than for direct harvest. These crops are typically planted during fallow period or between main crop cycles and are often terminated before the next planting season. Cover crops are plants like legumes, grasses, or brassica grown to cover the soil surface during the periods when main cash crops are not being cultivated or during off-season or between main crop cycles. Minimum purpose is to protect, enrich, and improve the soil while reducing reliance on synthetic produce. In a short, cover cropping is a cornerstone of sustainable farming because it builds long-term soil health, reduces long-term chemical dependency, and supports ecological balance and biodiversity. Regenerative farming is a holistic approach that doesn't just avoid harm but actively heal the lands. Regenerative farming focuses on rebuilding soil health, increasing biodiversity, and improving the water cycle, ensuring that farms become more resilient to climate change. Soil regeneration uses cover crops, compost, and minimal tillage to restore soil life. So here our main focus is to study about cover crops. The key benefits of cover cropping can be defined as first one, soil health improvement, increasing the productivity, improving the soil structure, etc. Second one is weed suppression, where the dense growth of cover crops shades out sunlight, reducing weed germination and growth. Third one is improved soil fertility. Leguminous crops like clover, veg, which are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen and enriching the soil naturally. Fourth one is soil erosion reduction, where the cover crop roots hold the soil in place and preventing wind and water erosion. Fifth one is carbon sequestration, where it increases the organic matter, improving soil health and storing carbon. Sixth one is enhancing biodiversity and attracting beneficial insects and flowering cover crops provide habitat for pollinators and predators of pests. Seventh is interrupts host plant availability to control the pest and diseases in its management. And eighth one is boosting yield and profitability. So these are the benefits by the cover crops. Now we will study the benefits of cover cropping in details. First one is soil health improvement. Cover crops increase organic matter, improve soil structure, and enhance microbial activity. And adds organic matter when cover crops decompose, and they add biomass to the soil, boosting microbial activity and soil health. And there will be soil protection by preventing erosion, retain moisture, and improve nutrient cycling and especially nitrogen and phosphorus. Cover crops enhances soil structure where the root breaks up compacted layers, improving aeration and water infiltration, and promotes water retention, improved organic matter, and soil structure help the soil to retain more moisture. And the leguminous crops like hairy vetch and crimson clover fix atmospheric nitrogen, reduces the need for synthetic fertilizers. Next benefit is weed suppression. Cover crops act as living mulch, seeding the soil and preventing weed seed germination. Fast growing species like buckwheat and sorghum Sudan grass quickly form dense canopies that smother existing weeds. Some cover crops exhibit allelopathy, releasing natural biochemicals that inhibit weed growth. Like example, cereal rye produces benzoxygenoids that suppress pigweed and lampquatters, and also suppress weeds that harbor pest. A dense cover crop reduces the weed growth that can act as alternate pest habitat. And in case of less weedy ground, fewer hiding places for early season insects also controlled. And here the cover cropping also part of integrated weed management approaches. Other benefits are soil fertility improvement, where the cover crops improve soil fertility, like leguminous crops, clover and veg, fix atmospheric nitrogen and enriching the soil naturally. There will be soil erosion reduction, where the cover crops roots hold the soil in place, preventing wind and water erosion. Other benefits are carbon sequestrations, where cover crops increases organic matter, improving soil health and storing carbon and lowering greenhouse gas emissions. Other benefits like boosting yields and profitability, where the cover crops real benefits from regenerative approaches and soil health metrics improve significantly by using cover crops. Other benefits: cover crops enhances biodiversity and attracts beneficial insects. Flowering cover crops provide habitat for pollinators and predators of pests, and cover crops like buckwheat, phacelia or clover attracts predatory insects like ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps that feed on pests. These beneficial help keep populations of aphids, caterpillars and whiteflies in check. Healthy soil produces healthier plants with a stronger natural pest resistance, and cover crops increase organic matter and microbial life, reducing the stress signals that attract pests. Cover crops interrupts host plant availability. Some cover crops breaks pest and disease cycles. Many insect pests are host specific. By planting cover crops instead of their preferred host, we can interrupt their life cycles. Like example, rotating out of brassicas like broccoli and into oats or legumes can break the cycles of cabbage moths. And cover crops also confuses or repels pests, where the mixed cover cropping can act as a visual or scent barrier, confusing insects that use cues to locate host plants. For example, mustard cover crops may repel nematodes or other soil pests. Cover crops also having the strategy of trap cropping, where the certain cover crops can be used as trap crops, luring pests away from main crops. Like example, planting sunflower to attract sting bugs, keeping them off tomatoes or capsicums. There are different cover crops having the beneficial impacts. Like there are crops which are relating to soil improvements, like legumes, where the alfalfa, clover, which improves nitrogen by nitrogen fixation. Grasses like rye, oats, barley prevents erosion and adds biomass. And brassicas like mustard, radish, which reduces pest and breaks soil compaction. There are some cover crops which concerned with pest control, like buckwheat, which is a quick growing cover crop, attracts beneficial insects, and mustard work as a biofumigant and having the properties against soil pests. Lucerne or alfalfa supports predatory insects and improves soil conditions. Clover crops fixes nitrogen and supports pollinators and ground beetles, where the brassicas like mustard radish reduces pests, and rye and vetch mixes are one of the good winter cover crops to suppress weeds and disrupt pest cycles. Cover crops are also used as special strategic crops, like improving sandy soils, where the cover crops like hairy veg, winter rye, and certain grasses and legume mixture help enhancing soil structure, retain moisture, and prevent nutrient leaching. Cover crops are also used for soil regeneration, where the crops can be broadly categorized into legumes, grasses, and brassicas, and each offering unique benefits for soil regeneration. Cover crops also protect soil, where the winter cover crops like rye, oats, wheat, or barley help protect soil during colder months and reduce erosion. Cover crops are having the quality of nitrogen fixing, where the legumes such as clover, veg, or field peas helps replenishing nitrogen levels in the soil. Cover crops also having the qualities of drought tolerant, where the species like cowpeas, sainfoin, and certain clovers, as well as non-legumes like pearl millet and sorghum Sudan grass, also having the drought tolerant potential, and these are also supporting the soil. The cover crops are used in a different ways. Like during the off season, they are often planted in the fall after the main crop is harvested or in the early spring before it is planted. Cover crops are also used in a mix where it is planting a diverse mix of cover crops species which provides more benefits than a single species. And there are also use of termination where after the cover crops growth period these are managed by either winter killing them, which happens naturally in cold climate, or by terminating them through mechanical means like crimping or tilling. The resulting plant reduce decomposes and returning nutrients and organic matter improves the soil health. Now we'll study the role of Sesbania in cover cropping. Sesbania species, especially Sesbania sesban, Sesbania bispinosa, and Sesbania herbaceae are widely used as cover crops and green manure in tropical and subtropical regions. The role of Sesbania is in having soil fertility enhancement. Sesbania is a fast growing legume that fixes nitrogen biologically, enriching the soil with up to 45 to 60 kg per acre nitrogen fixation. Sesbania contributes to organic matter buildup, improving soil aggregation, aeration, and water infiltration, and also leaves and branches decompose rapidly, making it ideal for green manure applications. Sesbania is also having a role in weed suppression, where the Sesbania grows vigorously, forming a dense canopy that shades out weeds and compete for nutrient and water. And Sesbania also outperform cowpea in weed suppression and pest resistance. And it is particularly effective in short-term fallow rotations and alley cropping system where it suppresses weeds like astraiga. And there are additional benefits where the Sesbania attracts beneficial insects like parasitic wasps and lady beetles, and it can be used in phytoremediation, tolerating high ammonium concentrations and potentially removing heavy metals from soil. Now we'll study the difference between cover cropping and mulching. Both cover cropping and mulching aim to protect the soil, but they work in different ways. Mulching involves placing layers of organic or inorganic materials like straw, leaves, or compost on top of the soil. It suppresses weeds, helps retaining moisture, and shields the ground from extreme temperatures. Where the cover cropping uses living plants that interact directly with the soil ecosystem. They grow roots that improve structure, host soil microbes, return nutrients, and enhances soil fertility over time. While mulch acts more like a blanket and cover crops actively build and restore soil from within. Now this is the end of my presentation, cover cropping. Hope to see you soon in my next presentation. Thanks.